Welcome back. Wonderful one there with Which Way Nigeria. I wonder. Looking at our age bracket and our interesting guest who joins us here, Mr. Sesan Okunade.
May we all live way past Obi and Wole Soyinka and be that active.
Amen.
Yes, we have to do that. 54 is very young. I mean, why would people be dying at 54?
Sorry, I saw something recently that I want to share on breakfast. I mean, because we have the platform, we have the voice. Someone said that when you see people of Wole Soyinka's age, he didn't use Wole Soyinka, he was using former President Olusegun Obasanjo. We do know that he went through a tumultuous time as a military personnel. He was jailed. He was
active in the Civil War.
And so on. That because of how good their time were and his contemporaries, that he has some of his contemporaries who are still alive today just like he is, it is because of how good the system was back then that it was an enabler for them to have
even the kind of food they consumed
they had up until now.
Joe, when Benga was actually rolling that out, my heart was pounding, and I'm like 55, and and I looked at my current age. So if I deduct
what kind
of talk is that?
No, it's not so far from 55.
You look so some of your grey hairs.
And Benga said 55. I was there doing like this.
Going by what you said of 80, my father-in-law is about 88. My father is over 70. It's near 80. And I look at the agility in this set of people. I have a man, we play golf together. He beats me to it, he's 84.
Wow.
These are the first set of chartered accountants. His membership number is about 839. I'm over 30,000 when it comes to, so you can see the gap. This man owed me 83. He swings as if he's less than 50.
Like Tiger Woods.
And I look, must be shaking.
Of course. And I look at the foundation at which people have it there. They don't eat the kind of food we eat.
They don't drink energy drink.
The energy is there from what they get. So the medical facility is just at their tips.
GMOs.
And when they have it. So you ask yourself, which way are we going? A lot of people may not take this serious. But if you look at it, while I was taking my wife to the office this morning, just under the bridge, we saw people attending to a dead man. They came to pick him up. I'm sure he slept under that bridge, and overnight he passed on, and those medical team were dead. And I'm like, my wife was shedding tears, and I'm like, a lot of people don't have home. There is no hope for tomorrow. You can't be guaranteed of the food that you eat. It's alarming. And each time you come here, you talked about health facilities, people, primary
doctors going on strike.
People like us have access to healthcare facility where we're growing because the primary healthcare center was there. Can you ask for that today? A lot of people want to patronize the private hospitals, which is not affordable by any.
It's not.
It's a wake-up call. It's not an indictment, possibly from what. It's a wake-up call because they are out there above 70. They should know that same is applicable for their children.
Number one in the world, in the entire world.
The same is applicable for their children.
Maybe there's a feeling that because they can go abroad, so the children can move abroad.
The interesting thing is that with all the funds that they claim that they have, when those funny sickness hit you, the money will not save you.
It won't.
So you must lay the right foundation. What are the food that we give to these children? Those are our father, they took good meal. When the foundation is bad, there is nothing that you want to build on. And that's where we are getting it wrong.
Okay. We really went in deep. That's a very would I call it a shocking reaction? Or a shocking way to start newspaper review, but I'm sure that that's not different from the stories that we have this morning on the front pages of the papers. Let's start with Vanguard newspaper and see what's on the front page of the Vanguard. The big story on the Vanguard this morning: don't just reform, cut wastes. Sanusi, Peterside tell federal government.
I love it. We had the video. Sorry to butt in. I saw the videos on News Central social media handles. Both of them talking tough. You could find those videos on our Instagram page, for instance.
So don't cut waste, don't just reform, cut waste. And what will cutting waste look like is another question.
Reduce convoys.
Doling out excessive money to another 50 million poor Nigerians. Not being accountable. it will also mean reducing the number of aides you have and the number of cars.
Reducing foreign travel, and also Falcons. Instead of giving them $100,000, give them $10,000.
Wow. Okay, we'll come back to that. Senate's NSITF takeover, declaration of war on workers, NLC says, threatens directive halting workers' fund deductions remittances. We've received threats from terrorists to bomb National Assembly. Reps raise alarm. I have been banned from US. Nobel laureate Soyinka says. Reps to probe NFF over $25 million FIFA grants. Lagos government, Oroshoki residents differ over demolitions. Enugu emerges likeliest state to survive without FAC allocations according to budgets.
Not Lagos.
Not Lagos. So
Yeah.
interesting.
That's interesting.
And, okay. First Bank vindicated. Arbitration tribunal dismisses GHL's $718 million claim. This matter that has been on for a very long time. Okay, let's quickly take one story before we go on a break. And maybe I should start. I should read the riders under the big story.
Yes.
It says, challenge leaders on accountability, economic discipline if reforms must work. Why do we need 48 ministers, long convoys, endless travels, Sanusi says. Benefits of subsidy removal can only be realized through proper governance, Peterside says. Tinubu's reforms already yielding results, Edun says. OT calls for leadership discipline, human capital investment to unlock Abia's prosperity. Let's ask Mr. Sesan Okunade about cutting wastes. What will cutting wastes by the federal government?
Accountants, the CFOs in organization, many people don't really like them because they are the ones with the financial scissors to cut the waste. So Sesan is in a very good position to answer that question.
Yeah, Benga, in as much as you referred to me as one of the people to give the question, I think Mr. President is in the right place also because he's a senior accountant. I'm sure you know he worked on Mobile and he got to the pinnacle as a top of the finance person in a multinational. You see, when it comes to financial indiscipline, you ask yourself, a lot of people say some of these things where they are not in power. When they get to power, you ask what actually is the problem. I want to believe the same Sanusi that is coming to criticize government when he was governor. So much...
CBN governor.
No, CBN governor. I'm sure a lot of people too will ask the question. It reminded me of a day I was in a program where I was a panelist and a former governor was there and was rolling out some of the things, you know, expected of the government. And one of the participants stood up and said, sir, why are you just telling us this? Why were you unable to carry out this that you are telling us when you are actually a governor? And it's too still there. We could not go further. Why is it that, I keep asking myself the question, why is it that people don't think right when they are in government, but speak much more better, either before they come in or whether they are out?
In fairness to His Royal Majesty, he did raise an alarm about missing billions of dollars that NNPC didn't remit, and that cost him his job as CBN governor.
Yeah, that happened because one out of several, and that's why a lot of us have actually been asking, can we build a system? And I love the aspect that himself and Peter said he's put into this. It's not about reform. A lot of us have actually picked on the chairman of the presidential tax on the fiscal, that is at the time we daily carrying out is that a lot of policies, a lot of reforms, but how do you intend to manage the politician who some of these things will lie on their table when it is time to execute them, when it is time to implement them? How much are we, what are the consequences?
How can you enforce compliance? Yes.
What are the consequences when you discover that the civil servant is not doing things in line with the set rule?
All right.
It's not only about the private sector that you plot the state at man on.
All right.
Those people too, we must actually look in that area.
I agree with you.
Let's hold on a bit. We'll go on a break. When we come back from this very short break, we'll take more reactions to the stories, and then we'll open the phone lines to take your calls as well. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still reviewing the papers and the numbers to call on your TV screen. Please call our phone numbers. Let's get your thoughts on any of the stories. We'll be moving now to the next paper, the New Telegraph newspaper, to see what the front page is saying and what the headlines are. On the front page of the New Telegraph, the big story, which we also saw on the other papers, says, we've received threats from terrorists to bomb National Assembly. This is Reps panel. Police kick as State Assembly's back bill to establish National Assembly Security Directorate. So, very quickly, they received threats.
So is this they want to establish this because...
Yes.
I mean, what happens to Nigerian police and the security that they have in the National Assembly already?
It's two-factor authentication.
So they need a directorate.
Yes.
Okay, two-factor.
We'll come back to that. Federal government to expand cash transfer beyond 15 million households, says Edun. Delay in removing fuel subsidy liable for current economic hardship in Nigeria, according to Sanusi. Study links rapid tooth loss to higher death risk in older people. How many of you have started losing your teeth?
I've lost mine from years ago. From years ago.
No, I cut my teeth in journalism a long time ago.
I love it.
Please, can you react to the story because of
Okay, no, let's just say one or two more so that we know we're done with this paper. Nigerians spent 15 trillion naira on generator and diesel fuel in 1 year, according to Adela.
That's massive.
That's really massive. So maybe we should actually start with the one of reps saying they received
There's
threats.
also the Shoinka story there.
Yes.
And
Many
federal
stories.
government processes 170 foreign applications for Nigerian citizens. So people want
there's
to
a
be
lot. There's a lot.
citizens of this great nation.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Even my wife is part of those that are applying for citizenship.
Let's start with the reps panel. We've received threats from terrorists to bomb NAS.
And as a result, they are pushing for a bill to establish National Assembly Security Directorate.
It always speaks of the selfishness on the part of the leaders that we have. I did not receive any reaction, if you ask me. I'm sure you know there was a threat to attack Ondo State and Kogi. We've been seeing a lot of attack in the northeast, northwest.
Very true.
And I don't know if directorate was actually set up to see how
Ondo State and Kogi State Security Directorate.
to actually undo some of these things. It's quite funny. I hope somebody will come from National Assembly and say that headline was actually misconstrued.
Just
as
to
they always
explain
say.
further,
Yeah.
it is the chairman of the House Committee on Internal Security, Garba Ibrahim Mohammed, who disclosed this yesterday during a public hearing on a bill to establish the Legislative Security Directorate held at the National Assembly Complex, Abuja. The proposed legislation is titled, A Bill for an Act to Provide for the Establishment and the Functions of Legislative Security Directorate in the National Assembly, to provide for the qualification and condition of service of the Sergeant-at-Arms and other personnel of the Directorate and for other related matters. According to them, the National Assembly had increasingly become a target for criminal and terrorist attacks.
In as much as...
So, Mr. Okunade, you can see that nobody is misconstruing anyone.
And just to add to
It's
that,
live
the
and
lawmaker
clear, please.
noted that the influx of people into the complex daily, including visitors, lobbyists, and demonstrators, had made it a vulnerable target. National Assembly.
He speaks volume of
They need
their
to establish
steps,
this.
They need to get the
ASAP.
directorate as ASAP so that we
quickly.
get this. So that he speaks volume of how insensitive a lot of these leaders, and it's about them. And that's why we are where we are today, because of the selfish interest of some of these leaders who are actually leading us. When there are reported, information of attack on a specific area, even from DSS and the likes, how do we swing into action? How
What's
do
the
we make use
response
of
time? Yes.
the response time? How do we actually make sure that the people that are actually targeting this does not execute it? But now we have a threat to the National Assembly, and we are swinging into action as if that is the only safe event we must have in the country. A lot of people cannot carry out a lot of people are still in IDPs. We are talking about food insecurity, because farmers that are supposed to be in the farm are in IDPs because those areas are not safe for them. And we are not looking at legislative laws that can protect
And
that.
has there been any physical threat to the National Assembly since
But
its establishment since 1999? Has there been any case of security breach? Zero.
But from
And
what
then
Olive
he's
said,
gaslighting Nigerians and making all this.
no, from what
statement.
Olive said, they said the lobbyists and the visitors they're having is increasing.
Journalists have to come.
And it's not only journalists. A lot of people feel that is the only way
You have
where you
public,
can raise
public
money.
hearings too.
Aside public,
lobbyists.
a lot of the lobbyists, and leave those public hearings. Those one has been in existence since 1999, and it's not a trend. But these days, because everybody knows that the only place where you can make money from is by getting closer to the politicians. It's by moving very close to them. That's why you see a lot of lobbyists going every day to see what, knock at their door and say, what can we get from you? Because if you go to organizations now, you've stiffened the businesses in such a way that they are struggling to even pay salaries. So which door do you want? The only door you can knock is, well, and we've asked the question, a lot of the people that are actually politicians, is it that they don't have any job doing before they come into politics? Why can't they use some of the funds that they have, invest back in some of them are medical doctors, some of them are lawyers, they are accountants, they are engineers. How many of them are applying back some of these funds into those businesses that they left before they go in? A lot of them are not doing that.
Very important.
They are not doing that, and that's why a lot of people want to knock at their door to say, Oga, what do you have on the table to give to us?
Like you said, it's very selfish. We'll see if this bill will pass, and of course,
Then, guys, to pass, nothing will happen.
Okay.
Let's
move on to
I actually hope that we can have this as a proper conversation, because
we should.
looking further, I'm sorry, I just have to read
Yes,
this. Please just
please,
let me
go
say,
ahead.
it is obvious that with the ongoing security challenges, if proper measures are not taken, will truncate the legislative activities in the National Assembly. And if activities are thwarted, there will be no representation, no oversight, no annual budget, there will be no plenary at all, and that will destabilize legislative procedure, democracy, and the stability of the system and our nation at large.
I suggest that National Assembly Security Directorate is too small. They need to build like 5 army mechanized divisions, 7 naval bases. If there's no water around it, they should dredge River Niger to protect. And then an Air Force base, like 16.
I think that's
just to protect them so
there
that
should be a
we know.
complete garrison command.
That will protect them. It's disheartening that
People
this is
are
actually
terrible.
coming. People are dying on daily basis. People are killed. We have killings nobody. And how many of them can go back to their constituency? A lot of them based they can't go to their constituency because of this security we are talking about. And now that you have a threat, you are saying you want to truncate the National Assembly, the legislative functions. Even with the legislative functions, is it not about legislative fighting, Natasha fighting Senate President? This one, how many of those laws is to the favor of we Nigerians? Now you are talking about threats to National Assembly, and we are, building this peace too. But when it comes to the citizen, when it comes to those people that you claim you are representing, how many of them have visited their constituencies to say, we must nip it at the bud. We must build directorate in my constituency that will address this issue of insecurity you are talking about.
Absolutely.
You are not saying that, but you are talking about the one that has to do with National Assembly. It's a failure on their part, and we are disappointed with what they are doing.
So this next story, I want to share. There are 2 parts to this. There's a good news part, and then there's the bad news part. What should I start with? The bad news is obvious anyway. Let me start with the good news.
Oh, okay.
So the bad news says Nigerians spent 15 trillion naira on generator, diesel, and fuel in 1 year, says the Minister of Power, Delabu. The good news is that he also said in the same forum where he was speaking that Nigerians have started exporting solar panels to Ghana.
Oh my goodness, bring up please now.
That's something.
Yeah, I saw that story yesterday.
It's a good news.
My question to Mr. Okunade is, this is a
not our
huge
story.
amount of money that we're spending on generator and diesel year on year. In my 40s, and I remember shouting up NEPA. My daughter is 4 months old. And my prayer to God Almighty is that she will never shout up NEPA.
Amen.
But the way things are going, I'm afraid.
But Benga,
No. So how do we end this generator?
Let me give you a
She
simple
might not only
idea.
shout up MEPA, she'll tell you that off the light.
I'll be using solar.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of people now, discontinue themselves from the national grid, and their children don't even know whether there is NEPA or no NEPA. They have 24-hour supply. So all you need to do is to, galvanize more funds get renewable energy and get it there. She will not know whether we have national grid.
People have started using wind,
to generate
in their house.
power. You see, a lot the path at which the minister is going, people like us can read to it. This was part of the thing he actually put together when they were to move to cost-reflective tariff, and they said band A, band B, band C. The guarantee we got there was that we're going to increase the cost of per tariff, per kilowatts, then, and we'll make supply available to people. The next tranche we saw were a lot of people was migrated from other band to band A to get more, and they were not getting the services required of them. And part of the things that was said then, that there were actually going to be consequences for disco that did not oblige to this particular thing. How much of it, I don't know. I can speak of my side, but I know a lot of people who claim that they were migrated to band A, they were still supposed to be on band B because they are not getting that power supply that is expected of them. And nobody is looking in that particular direction. You can look at so much that we are investing or we are expending on this alternative power supply in terms of diesel and the likes. That on its own impact on the bottom line of an average organization. And that's why we keep saying that the energy cost deterred the organization of fulfilling the obligation of increasing the salary of some of those things, of the staff that they have. Two, they are unable, they pass some of these costs to the end users who actually pay for those studies.
Business implications
of it.
This high
and we
tariff.
keep saying, how can we increase the generation? As we speak, can Mr. Minister, the Honorable Minister of Power, come to address the populace? How much have we seen in terms of generation? Where did he started from? What was the megawatt when he actually assumed office? Where are we as we speak? In terms of transmission, we had so much discussion with Siemens, the transmission is still in the hand of the government. At Siemens then coming to bridge the gap between generation and distribution. What is the position of things as regard that particular day? He should look more in his own area. It's a sector where I play role in. Look more. Don't give us statistics of so much that is being spent on that other area. Look at what you have been able to achieve on your part that can contribute to the bottom line to make the business to grow.
I mean, people need to run, they need energy.
They need energy. If you don't provide, they have to buy generator and get those things done.
I get your point. He should look at his own work and give us a scorecard.
Give us the scorecard to say, as at the time when I resumed office as the minister, this was the power that we are generating. This is not what you are projecting to generate in the nearest future. This is what it is as it is today. In terms of transmission, we've been able to ride on what the last administration had agreement with Siemens. This is what we have achieved. Okay. In terms of distribution, this is what the DISCO has been able to. A lot of DISCO are still struggling in terms of metering. We just about the rollout of free meters for people on band A and B, and I asked the question: those on band C, band D, are they not human beings?
No.
Are they not is it not part of the responsibility of the government to fulfill that to them? Even people on band A, a lot of calls have come to me. Sesan, how do we have access to this?
It's almost like apartheid, power apartheid. You're discriminating. So because people are
not in A and C, so they don't have, they are not to be entitled, because those other people pay more. You must definitely give them those free meters. It must be equity. These are the injustices that people are actually speaking about. They deserve it. Power. So, Mr. Honorable Minister, it's an appeal on my part. We will be happy to have the scorecard of what it was while it was assuming office, what it is now, because a lot of people are saying that the ministry is really not having the leadership that we should have, because there seems to be more politicking in the time of the gubernatorial race.
Story before we go, and it's a big one here. Action next week, we plan to send Oliver Modi to represent Breakfast Central at the Anambra Goba elections, because Anambra is not far from Ogwashku.
Thank you so much. Anambra,
the new sheriff in town, Professor Joash, that remind me of Joash Hansen. He's talking tough. He says they would crack down on disruptive elements, and the police plans to deploy 45,000 officers. That's a huge number for a civic exercise in Anambra. Why the the policing and the militarization of our election process. It's a civic exercise. You're going there to elect your choice.
Yeah, Benga, I was on a sister station yesterday, and I was just talking of Amit on that. I want to make an appeal to him. He should speak less and let his action speak more than this that we are
The
having.
seat he's sitting on is still, he has not sat on it where he's still shaking and you're already criticizing him.
It's not criticism. I'm of the opinion that, you see, people are catching this thing on tape. All this talking tough. We are going to make sure that election, you don't need to
Jega
litigation.
Mahmood did pass this one.
Litigation should not be the order of the day when it comes to election. We should finish it up at the polls and all those things. I've asked myself the question: how much does he knows about these politicians that are there? What is the position of the judiciary? This, I'm sure, will come here. November 8th is a Saturday when the election will come. Saturday. And I'm sure possibly on the 11th or 12th, I'll be here to analyze paper. You will hear of several excuses on the part of the... If indeed we are preparing for this, why are we mobilizing 45,000 police officers to ordinary, or just Enugu estate? So what becomes of you?
Bandits.
What becomes of you when you now have about 5 states having the same? Do we have that number of police officers
or the general election?
Or when it comes to general election, so it speaks volume to, like, if you are going to. So by the time we'll be having the success story of the election in Enugu, we'll be talking of, because we fortified it with police and military, we militarize it, and trust the politician will start coming with story that a lot of people refuse to come out because they can see a lot of military forces out there and they are scared anything can happen. Do what is needful. What we have actually been asking for is discourage this attitude of people snatching boxes, because there is guarantee with what you are going to have on beavers, on IREF, as against when you snatch the boxes, you are just taking out the physical paper. We don't need it. We already have a result that already transmitted out there as soon as those results. So you protect the beavers and not the boxes. So people can snatch the boxes because you would have counted it and you'd have had the result transmitted both at the world level, state level, at the national level. Okay. That's what we should think.
You know what has to transmit right now? Yeah, Siri, because we have to leave the studio. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Very spot on.
I was hoping, but it depends. If you have an active American visa, I didn't want to put him in trouble.
Benga,
we have to
talk
go.
about the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
we don't have time.